Hello, everyone. This is chapter 26 of Toro Moon by Darby Carshett. Rigo did. Leaping between me and death by Skinner, he reared, front hoof scything the air. One hoof struck the Skinner and knocked it to the ground. Snarling, the creature twisted and scrambled clear of the other hoof, seeking to scramble some brain. Matt, duck! Still trapped by the mace, I hunkered down as far as I could. Just in time, too. The warhorse whirled around, planted his front feet, and mule kicked the creature. Yowling, it soared back and disappeared into the funnel. Ole! Rigo shouted. Whoa, I breathed. The swirling cloud sped up. With a shriek loud enough to shatter granite, it dived into the coffer, a snake slithering back into its hole, and disappeared. Whump! The lid slammed shut. A shudder rocked the container, and its sides bulged out from a movement. The coffer lifted an inch. A long, low exhalation. Sink! It closed again. A flash of blinding blue light. I closed my eyes tight. With a sigh of contentment, the wind sank to a breeze, then died away. I blinked and shook the hair out of my face. The chest sat motionless, its iron a dull gray. Overhead, the clouds thinned as patches of sunlight grew. Groaning, I lowered my mace and let it drop to the ground. My arm dangling like a deflated balloon up my whole right side was on fire. I opened and closed my hand a few times, then looked up at Rigo and placed my hand on his neck. Thanks. For what? For saving my life. For risking your own. No big deal, Matt. It's what I do. But you didn't have to, I thought, and that's what makes it a big deal. I patted his neck and looked around, then rubbed his shoulder, wincing. Roman picked up bits of grass from his ponytail. He has a ponytail? I didn't know that. Okay. While my father poked at the coffer with his mace, the other horses trotted over. As he paused to pick up Dad's hat with her teeth from where it had snagged in a crotose bush. I nudged the chest with the toe of my boot. Did we get 'em all? I think so. Oh, gracias, Isabel. Dad dusted off his hat and clapped it back on his head. A thin line of red decorated his cheekbone. To the cave, Turk? Vasco? He waved the stallions over, then united the larat from Turk's saddle. He and Roman fastened the ropes through the iron rings, where the ropes dallied around the saddle horns, and the coffer slung between the war horses. Dad and Roman headed for the cave. Ben and I trailed behind. It felt weird not to be running for our lives. Good weird. Once there, Ben and I helped lower the chest to the ground. Dad dismounted, then pulled the headlamp out of his pocket. Let me check the cave before we haul that thing back in. He removed his hat and pulled on the lamp. The tremors may have caused some damage. Edging around the massive block of the stone, he disappeared. A few minutes later, he reemerged, scowling. He yanked off the headlamp in frustration. I was afraid of that. My heart lurched before I could ask. Roman spoke. How bad, Javier? A section of the canyon wall has fallen and partially blocked the cave entrance. I tried, but I'm unable to squeeze through. His gaze flickered over to me. With another lurch, my heart began pounding against my ribs. You gotta be kidding me. Would I fit? Ben offered. I could have hugged my brother. Dad shook his head, his eyes never leaving my face. Why? My voice cracked. I tried again. Why can't we just keep the coffer at home? Like in the barn or something. Our barn is not warded. And even though the chances of it reopening are remote, I will not risk it. No, it must be returned to the cave. Oh man, I groaned. Really? I'm sorry, my son. We might not be able to shift the rock or dynamite it in the future, but for now, I want that accursed thing secured. He handed me the headlamp, then pulled my mace from my hand and passed it to Ben. You will not need your weapon. Before I knew it, I was stumbling through the slot. Dad and Roman followed in single file, carrying the copper between them, a larat still tied to one of the iron rings. With every unsteady step, I fought the urge to spin around and flee. Reaching the dead end, I steeled myself and played the light over the surface. A large slab was wedged between the walls right in front of the cave's mouth. Suspended over the sandy floor, it left a gap at the bottom, barely big enough for the coffer and me. If I skipped breathing for a while and didn't mind losing a layer of skin off my back, gee, how did I get so lucky? Dad knelt by the coffer. He handed me the other end of the rope. Drag it inside and push it to one of the corners for now. You make it sound easy. My skin crawled like wasps were building nests under it. I crouched down and eyed the black hole. What if the slab falls all the way and traps me there? It won't. But what if it does? Then I'll break it down with my bare hands and get you out. I believed him. Lying flat on my stomach and the end of the rope tied to my ankle, I forced myself to ignore the stone hanging above me, or how loud my pulse drummed in my ears, or how dry my mouth was. Instead, I concentrated on squeezing through the tunnel, inch by inch, using my hands to push the sand away from my face. The grains worked their way under my shirt and down my pants. When I reached the cave, I wanted to bawl, just to be able to stand up. I wanted to, yeah, bawl. Okay. Even in that small space was everything. Still have to crawl back, said an annoying voice in my head. I told it to shut up. Okay, I'm through, I hollered, then untied the rope from my leg. Start pulling. Dad's voices echoed from the other side. It took all my strength to drag the thing through it. It kept getting caught on the sides of the tunnel and hung up in deep sand. You know, Dad, I complained between grunts. You could have dug the dirt away and crawled through yourself. Finally, by sitting down and bracing my boots on either side of the opening and jerking on the rope, I inched it in. I shoved it into the corner with my feet, then blew out a deep breath and stay there. Coiling the lariat, I suddenly remembered the other coffer. How could I have forgotten something called the red casket? Ominous. With a touch of macabre. No. I shone the light up on the high shelf. The high, empty shelf. The hairs on my arm snapped to attention. I backed up as far as I could and steadied the light on the ledge. Had I missed it? Nope, just a dark hole kneeling near the ceiling. Swinging my head around, I scanned the cave. Maybe one of the tremors knocked it off its perch? Even as I looked, I knew I wouldn't notice it already. I would have noticed it already. I squatted down and yelled through the tunnel. Dad, it's gone. Okay? The red casket. The smaller one that was up on that shelf. It's not here. Are you certain? Yeah. I can see all the way back in the hole. It's not there. It's not anywhere in this caves. Dad's string of curse words ricocheted. Or, uh, sorry, I got lost. Ricocheted along the tunnel. A few, I stored away to share with Ben. I heard Roman's low rumble as they spoke. Once I caught Albert's name. Matt, come along. There's nothing more we can do in here. I didn't need to be told twice. The feel of Dad's hand grabbing my arm and pulling me final feet was just about the best thing ever. You alright? I am now, I shuddered. You think Albert took it? Who else? Dad motioned for us to leave. I fell in behind Roman. What happens if he opens that one too? I sighed. I sighed with relief when we stepped out into the afternoon light. Skinner's? Or could it be something worse? Uh-oh. Seated on Izzy, Ben grimaced at my question. That doesn't sound good. What's going on? He handed me my mace. El Cofre Rojo is missing. Dad mounted and pulled his hat down with a savage tug. And I suspect Elbury. Turk bared his teeth. I knew I should have taken him out when I had the chance. Any clue where he might be? Roman swung up at Vasco. He tied the coiled lariat to his saddle. No, but I know who might. Dad dug his cell phone out from his pocket and tapped on the screen. No signal this far in. He nodded toward the gate. Let us hurry. Under me, Rigo ran like an antelope on Red Bull, bounding over bushes and leaping across ravines. It made me miss Elsid so much. I pretended it was just like the wind pulling tears from my eyes. I could almost hear his voice telling me to focus on the task at hand. Reaching the devastated camp, Turk slowed to a walk. Dad checked his cell again, then grunted with approval and tapped the screen. Liz, I need to find Albury. Now. A pause, because I think he has taken another coffer from the same cave where the first one was found. This one is smaller, shoebox size and reddish color. Another pause, longer this time. Gracious. No, we'll find him. He slipped the device into his back pocket. Well, Roman and Vasco said at the same time. Liz thinks she saw him putting something in the back of his vehicle, something wrapped in his jacket. She did not think much of it at the time, as everyone was excited about the larger coffer that they hauled back at the camp. Does Dr. Vandermeer know where Aubrey is now? I asked. She's not sure. He has not returned any of her calls. She did not tell me that he is renting a place. She did tell me that he is renting a place north of the town in Mesa Rim, but she does not know which house. Ben gave a low whistle. Pretty fancy neighborhood. Must be good money in paleontology. Herc sniffed. Probably makes extra cash on the side by stealing stuff from digs and reselling them on the black market. We should go back and get the truck, Sherman said. Then we can drive around in that subdivision and hope we spot Aubrey's vehicle. Not going to happen, Vasco rumbled. You're not going after that thing without us. I agree, Dad said. If that Tonto managed to open the chest and let loose whatever was imprisoned, we'll need our war brothers. Hey, Izzy slashed her tail. And sister, he added without missing a beat. More than ever. He gathered up the reins. We head to Hopper. Hufferano. Then skirt around to the north instead of going through town. The horses can make better time than going cross country. Turk, quickly, my friend. And that is the end of chapter 26. Sorry I got so fast at the end. The thing I'm using to record only records in 10-minute increments, and I had like 40 seconds to read a page, and I wanted to get it done. I didn't get it done in time, just quite. But sorry about being so fast at the end. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe and turn on notifications. If any questions or comments, just put them in the comments. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.